Puss in Boots. Remember Shrek? Remember that cat who pulls that cute face to win people over? Well, they made a movie about him. Why? Just because. Look, there's a talking egg. Isn't he just the best? Look at how likeable he is. This is a hard one to sell. I don't know how DreamWorks managed to turn this into a feature-length film. The Shrek universe has many funny and charismatic characters. There isn't one that's overbearing or obnoxious, but Shrek is the heart and soul of the movie. His arc is what keeps us engaged. The supporting characters help Shrek fulfill his goal and add further obstacles for comic relief. But you don't want to see supporting characters be the front and centre of the movie unless they bring some genuine heart to the story that doesn't just involve trite jokes. It works in Shrek because they're used sparingly, but doing that constantly in a solo film is a big ask, and that's my biggest problem with Puss in Boots. Don't get me wrong, he's a fine supporting character, but no one really asked for a solo film. Does anyone want to see a donkey movie? Imagine how annoying that would be. It would be like taking one of the minions from Despicable Me and turning it into a feature. Oh.
Banana?
Well, this is the world we live in now. There has to be a spin-off or remake from a successful franchise. They'll milk it dry to the bone because it's the only way studio executives know how to do business.
I will never forget you, Margarita.
Am I really seeing this play out in a kids movie? I know Shrek is known for its adult humour, but this is just weird. The scene in which Puss enters the bar, mocking the typical Western rogue hero with no name, made for a fun sequence. The interaction of the shady criminals talking about fairy tale tropes like Jack and Jill and the Beanstalk in a serious tone was really entertaining.
Show him the golden eggs.
No!
So we are introduced to the supposed villains of the story, Jack and Jill, and they're still less ugly than the ones in the Adam Sandler film.
I mean, it's fun and all, but, I want a baby.
Okay, what is actually going on here? First adultery, and now incest. I mean, Jack and Jill are siblings, but I guess they're not in this film? I mean, I hope not, because that would be... let's just move on. So we get more lazy humour as Puss runs into the blatant love interest Kitty Softpaws. This is like the squirrel from Ice Age finding a female equivalent. How are they ripping off Ice Age? But it doesn't take until Puss reaches Kitty's hideout. That sounds wrong just saying that out loud. It doesn't take until he reaches her hideout that he realises she's a female. It was such a dumb reveal. I mean, are we really going to have us subverting gender stereotypes with cats as a political statement of this film? And we get a lame flamenco dance because they're Spanish. It's important that these films embrace every ounce of Latin culture to provide the best outcome of comedy while also educating children of new customs. Good job, DreamWorks. You definitely haven't offended Spain. Okay, well now you've offended them. Having sequences that exaggerate famous stereotypes of Western and swashbuckling scenes that parody Antonio Banderas movies are all well and good, so long as they're used at appropriate times and not every 10 seconds. If that's all this film has to offer, then why was it made? Well yeah, apart from that, do I really care why Puss is searching for the golden egg? If this is going to be a Western spoof about a rogue hero, then you would create a setting where you immediately know who the villain is and desperately want to see him lose. And this usually involves terrorizing a small village or holding a girl at ransom after terrorizing the small village she came from. Yeah, there isn't much option to choose from, but it's effective. Okay, now we get to the meat of the story. And what am I witnessing here? It's like a scene from a horror film. Alright, so this is where it gets worse. Humpty Dumpty shows up, and after one look at his face, I immediately don't like him.
You got any idea what they do to eggs in San Ricardo prison? I'll tell you this, my friend. It ain't over easy.
Okay, so we're back to the adult jokes. I mean, that's a really dark one. What were they thinking?
I know how to speak meow.
No, it's somehow gotten worse. So after Softpaws tempts Puss into joining her and Humpty into capturing the golden egg, he explains his history with Humpty. They are both orphans living in this Nacho Libre style home as outcasts. And of course, every origin spin-off movie has to show how he got his name. What do the producers expect from the audience here? Do they want us to go, oh my god, he said the name, and then just cheer and scream like an Avengers film? We also get the origin of the cute eye scene, and even some lame reference to Fight Club. Cheap jokes like this really didn't go down well for me. This whole backstory was incredibly boring and predictable, and it took way too long to get to the point where Humpty betrayed Puss or something like that. I wasn't really paying attention or invested at that point. Puss agrees to join Humpty, but for his adopted mother, not to reunite their friendship. But why? He was framed for robbery by Humpty and forced to flee, forever on the run. I get that, but it's not like he tried to change. He's been robbing mischievously, with no guilt whatsoever. The story just got confusing for no reason. It was simpler when he was trying to steal the egg for his own reasons, but would have had a change of heart and become a better person for it. But this new plot point has just become needlessly convoluted, and it's because of that stupid egg. Just cook him already and the movie's over.
Is it true a cat
always lands on its feet.
No! That is just a rumor spread by dogs!
See, that was funny. It was the only amusing part of the whole chase sequence. Every beat of this film just felt so cliched that it wore out the excitement of the action. You can't keep adding stereotype Mexican trumpets to heighten the excitement. The only redeeming factors were the animation and the character design, apart from the egg. That was terrible. So they steal the beans from Jack and Jill, and they enter the giant's castle. Another really irritating sequence of the three occurs when their voices become high-pitched in the clouds. They just keep managing to find a way where they can stall time so the movie can reach its required 90-minute mark. So they find not just the golden egg, but 100 eggs.
Ow!
Just leave him there, please. The eggs are too heavy to carry, so they steal one of the gooselings, which awakens its mother, a giant goose. And from this point they have to... God, this is so boring. This is a clear rip-off of Shrek when they escape the castle from the dragon. They're copying storylines from its own franchise. Anyway, they successfully leave with the gooseling that poops golden eggs, and they're still forcing this romantic subplot on us, which is further explored to waste time during a celebration by the fireplace, and we get to see Humpty's true colours as if it wasn't obvious enough. I mean, it would be a lot more interesting if Humpty Dumpty was a victim to Puss's bullying. It would make sense that Puss would be a bully given his confident and promiscuous behaviour, but Humpty still holds a grudge that we only get to find out before the final act commences. There were better ways to manage their relationship that would have us guessing about Humpty's motives rather than putting us to sleep. And surprise, surprise, Humpty betrays Puss. He's left for dead, but because this is a movie aimed at a universal audience, there is a horse conveniently present for Puss to survive the desert and chase Humpty for revenge. And none of us wanted to see Puss go through a hallucinogenic quest through the desert finding mystical answers to complete his mission. You could see the writers getting impatient too. So in the dumbest twist of all time, Jack and Jill and various other bandits were all conspiring with Humpty to help his revenge on Puss. I hate this egg so much. I was cheering when I thought they actually killed him. He also finds out that a guilt-conscious softballs was also behind Humpty's revenge plans. Oh no, I'm so shocked. Anyway, he's locked up in prison where he encounters Andy Jack Beanstalk, where he learns that the gooseling's mother will come to this town and stop at nothing to get her child back. Soft Paws helps Puss escape in a more lively action sequence, but that is put to a halt when the mother goose arrives for a Godzilla showdown that was neither funny or thrilling. You just wanted it to be over. Puss manages to convince Humpty to change his ways and redeem himself, which he does after seeing a drawing of him and Puss from their childhood. I don't like that they tried to make him good. I think we all wanted to see the mother goose end up eating Humpty whole at the end, just like the dragon did to Lord Farquaad. Sure, it wouldn't have been the most original death for a villain, but it would have been damn satisfying. After all, he is an egg.
I know you won't. So I won't make you choose.
Wait, he's actually going to die? Well, there's a silver lining I didn't expect. Do I feel sorry for him? No, not really. He was selfish, dishonest, and always had a scheming look on his face. I mean, he literally left his best and only friend for dead in the middle of a desert. Who does that? And everything ends well for Puss in Boots, even though he's still considered a fugitive after saving the whole town from death. I mean, I know he's supposed to be this Zorro-like musketeer character on the run, but it's quite clear that he's innocent. My conclusion is that the militia are morons, and it was a way of forcing him to stay in character when he meets Shrek and Donkey. So overall, this spin-off did nothing for me. It's probably a fine watch if you ever catch it playing on TV and there's nothing else on. The setting of this rural Spanish town was a great choice to have the story play out, but the characters provided nothing but childish humour and antics. Humpty Dumpty as a villain is funny in theory. I feel like his traits were wasted and he was a rather plain and really irritating character. The jokes about his experience in prison were funny, but that was the only amusing scene he had. I didn't care that he was friends with Puss. He was a victim of bullying, which could have helped create some sympathy towards his struggles, but that's quickly brushed over and we see that he's just an unlikable, detestable character. And no, I'm not being harsh. He's one of the most annoying looking characters I've ever seen, and I'm glad that he died. If I were to pick a supporting character for a spin-off, I would pick the Gingerbread Man. I would love to see a story play out with him and the Muffin Man.
Do you know the Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man!
The Muffin Man?
But no, Puss in Boots was the one you go for. It's probably because he's a cat and videos about cats go viral, so of course the same results would happen for a film about a cat.
Oh.
I'm going to kill that cat.